I've been poking around this guy's life for 3 days. For 3 days, I've had the feeling he wasn't a man at all. That he hated people, used them, lied, and cheated. Sort of a glorified con man with his voice amplified. I couldn't find one single normal human emotion of love, decency, or gratitude. Now I've found it, and don't you slough it off on me.
Okay, so it's a good piece.
Were you around when this originally went on the air?
No. I was lying in some Battalion 8 station myself.
Okay, Mike. Put it on the show reel.
You need me anymore, Joe?
No, honey, you run alone.
Don't forget. Sidmore's place tonight.
Right.
And Carlton's office at 9 tomorrow.
Okay.
What's eating you?
Herb Fuller. You're a nice girl, Jenny.
Good night, Mike.
Night. Is Fuller getting to you?
You knew what he was like. I didn't. Wouldn't he get to you?
Have you figured out what you're going to do after Friday? After you step into the shoes?
I don't know, Mike. I honestly don't know.
Well, just thought I'd ask. I got a couple of package ideas I'd like to show you. You know, maybe you can use one of them.
Sure, I'd like to see him, Mike. You all finished?
All wrapped up on the tape end. How's the script?
All done but for this. Just how about those blood tapes?
I told you I think they're great. Phony is a $9 bill, but great.
You mean to say you honestly don't think he was moved while he was doing those tapes?
Well, what difference does it make? Look, Thomas Edison is fooling around in his laboratory, and all of a sudden a hunk of glass lights up. Who cares whether he's thinking, now I'll invent the electric light bulb?
I care.
Relax. In a couple of weeks, you'll discover it's your name on the salary check, not his.
Yeah, Mike. I guess you're right. Thanks.
Hiya, Coach. Welcome to Chez Moi.
Wow.
What do you think of the place?
Interesting.
I think it stinks. That decorator threw me a curve. You bring the script with you?
Most of it.
I thought we ought to throw it on the floor and walk around it a couple of times.
Gee, I wish I'd said that.
I think we're too close to the green to use a 5-iron.
Hey.
Hello, Mr. Harris.
One drinking out, honey. Mr. Harris and I have to talk business.
I'll leave in a minute, Mr. Moore. I would like one drink, if I may.
Right.
Well, Miss Receptionist, how do you like your job?
My name's Marcia Miller.
Well, Marcia Miller, how do you like your work?
Very much.
The hours are a little long, aren't they?
Was that a crack?
Oh. You and Marcia getting acquainted?
Yeah, we just found out we both smoke the same brand of cigarettes.
Marcia used to be on the radio.
No.
Where was that, honey?
Bennington.
Bennington. How about that? Look, honey, you know, I'd take you home myself, but Joe and I have got a little skull session here. We've got to work out the signals. I tell you what you do. You put that cab fare on the petty cash slip in the office tomorrow morning, okay? Bye, honey.
I'm beginning to understand the fast turnover in receptionists.
Yeah, good kid. I'm just going to look over your script. When are you going to get that recording from that guy in Worcester?
I'm having it piped down first thing in the morning. What do you think?
It's the greatest. There won't be a dry eye in the house. Old Sid's still got that scout's eye. He picked a Butte and you. We really got him this time. Us, you, me. We've really got him with this. From Carlton on down, they're going to have to fight my fight this time. They know I could blow Herb Fuller sky high. If I ever start talking, he's really dead.
Yeah, what can you tell him?
Hmm? I can tell him, and don't you forget it. I can tell him.
Like what?
None of your business. Get me a refill.
Why don't you sit this one out for a while, Skipper?
Who's driving? I'm home. Come on. Yeah, then come on back and take your shoes off and sit down and get good and loaded with old Sid. We both got it coming to us. Say, how'd you like those blood tapes of hers?
Oh, brother, they just tore me apart.
He really touched all the bases on those, didn't he?
Did he ever? I haven't gotten over it yet.
You didn't know I made that trip with him, did you?
What trip?
Well, you didn't know that I went up to the front with him, did you?
You went to the front with Herb Fuller?
Quite an experience. Well, first we went to that, that fancy uniform place. Sid Moore and Herb Fuller got fitted out in the classiest uniforms you ever saw. Great big shoulder patch. Official war correspondent. And then we went to Paris.
How did Fuller like Paris?
Fuller? Paris? How did Jimmy Walker like New York? How did John McGraw like the Polo Grounds? I hear you went to see Carol.
Who told you?
Well, that's the difference. Who told me? Too bad you're going to have to dump her.
You must have dump on the brain. Who said anything about dumping her?
I did just now. She's out. Let somebody else buy her booze. Oh, if you want to help her out in the rent for her apartment for a while, that's between the two of you. She has sung her last drunken note on the air.
You want to know something? I'm just about up to my ears in people who want to play God.
Like I said, Carol is finie, kaput, just because I said it.
All right, fine. Here, I make you a present of a nice rough draft script. You read it into an open mic tomorrow night.
You finished? You finished showboating? You're gonna make me a nice present of an unfinished script. Ah, you clown. You dime-a-dozen clown. You think the Amalgamated Network is hanging on what you do or do not do tomorrow night? Ask Mike Jackson what he's been doing in between recording sessions with you. He's been building a standby show. I went and got a bunch of old Herb Fuller tapes, and I'm going to have a standby announcer fill in the gaps. It's in the can, and it's going to be standing by tomorrow night just in case you get too big for your britches. What are you trying to do? Threaten me? Come off it, kid.
You're all a bunch of pros, aren't you?
Hey, you know what we'll do? As soon as this show is over, and as soon as we get Operation Harris on the rails, you and I are going to take a little trip to Europe. And we'll take along a tape recorder and make some remotes. And this time, I won't have to leave Paris by myself.
What do you mean by that?
You liked those blood tapes of Fuller's, didn't you? They were heartbreaking, weren't they? You could just smell the blood and sweat, couldn't you? They were phony. Fuller never left Paris. He was loaded and on the prowl the minute we got off that airplane. When it came time to take the blood up to the front, he said I could take a flying fling for myself. He wasn't going, and he disappeared. Couldn't find him for 2 days. So I took the blood and the recorder and went up to the Siegfried line myself. He never showed.
So you recorded those tapes at the battalion aid station?
The operating table was a stretcher on a kitchen table with an army blanket thrown over it. The overhead light was a Jeep headlight. They had it hooked up to a battery of the Jeep standing outside the barn. They were amputating a kid's leg.
Did they actually use the blood you brought with you?
The doctor said it saved the kid's life.
What happened to Fuller?
What happened to Fuller? I located him in a hoosegow. I figured he got mixed up with some dame, and this kid was in the black market up to her second teeth. And when they raided her joint, Fuller was in a jam. But old fireman Sid Moore got him out of it. With a checkbook. My checkbook. And every cent I had. And when I got him out, he did everything but lick my hand.